Good afternoon, Dutch bike vlogger here on my way home. Finally. Still my back does hurt. Still not in shape. Thank you. I saw that car very late. I had right away, but was marked or obscured by the brushes. I took some painkillers this morning. Hopefully it will help during the day. And back pain is something I sometimes have. Normally when I have my trouble with my back, I can readjust it myself, but probably muscles are a little bit irritated and it's not going to happen. Well, back to where I was going to plan on telling you, Titanic Part 2. See the description box for Titanic Part 1. That was the ride to work. I will also put a link in the description box on the Wikipedia where you can find information, because I'm doing this all out of my head, and it can be that I'm mixing up numbers, dates and whatnot. So if you like to get more information, also look in the description box. I just saw my footage from this morning. I just had a look where I ended. Well, I ended with the fact that lifeboats were in the water and not returning, although they were half filled to save the passengers who were in the water. By the way, the sunken Titanic was found in 1985 by Bob Ballard on a mission for the United States to retrieve some submarines, and he had some spare time. He was ready with the finding of the submarines and had some spare times and used that time to search for Titanic, and he did find it after many years laying on the sea bottom. And it turned out the Titanic was broken in pieces, 2 large pieces and 1 piece of keel or deck. What made Titanic quite special is, of course, that it sank, but there are also many rich and then famous people on board, who many of them lost their lives, millionaires. Because if Titanic would not have an iceberg and sank, we probably would not hear anything of it today. By the way, Titanic, when it was built, had 2 sister ships, the Olympic and the Britannic. Britannic looked quite the same way, with some differences on the Titanic. All the ships are gone now. The Olympic was on a landmine somewhere in the middle Mediterranean Sea, near Crete or something. Not really sure, doing this by head. And also Britannic was sunk. So all these once great ocean liners are gone. By the way, Titanic was named RMS Titanic, Royal Mail Ship, because it transported mail from Europe, UK to America. So the S from ship could be from steamer. On the lifeboats there is SS Titanic, by the way, steamship Titanic. Titanic was, by the way, equipped with 20 boats, 16 on the davits and 4 collapsibles. Actually, Titanic was designed to get more lifeboats on there, but aesthetically it would not be pleasing. The designer would like to have the passengers a clear view from the promenade deck over the sea, and the ships would obstruct that view. By the way, I saw a list of people who died, and you had first class, second class and third class passengers, and of course the crew. I have to say crew that was people who were managing the steam engines, of course the captain, but also with the crew many servants who worked in the cafes and the restaurants, cooks, whatnot, and a unusual amount of crew died in the sinking. Most passengers who survived were first class passengers, not because they were first class passengers, but because they had a location the closest to the lifeboats. And people who were in the hull, third class, had some trouble getting out. And then you have the rule women and children first, which actually meant women and children first. So men stayed behind, doing the, for that time, honorable thing. There was quite a difference between getting the lifeboats out on starboard side and on other side. All depended on who was loading them. One only loaded women and children and let the lifeboats go half empty. If there were no women and children anymore, but on the other hand, other crew member was letting male passengers also join the lifeboat when there were no women and children. So it all, well, came to the fact where you were on the boat and on what side you were trying to escape. By the way, Titanic glanced the iceberg, it didn't plow into it head on. And always the story, what would have happened. Too busy here. What would have happened when Titanic would have stern first hit the iceberg? Well, probably it would be crumpled up. Gives you a view over this water here. Get from A to B until it's more quiet. You know, I'm trying to let the dogs out, but when you let them loose, you have to take in mind that people are not happy with that, and you have no control over the dog whatsoever. Well, there of course also was why the Titanic made a movie of it. The 1997 movie of James Cameron with James Cameron as director. With Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. A nice movie, historically quite accurate, with some fails. I will provide you with a link to International Movie Database with the goofs and trivia and whatnot, so you can have a look for yourself what is correct and not correct. Huge debate about the fact if the ship broke up on the surface or just below the surface. Many witnesses who were on scene and survived told different stories. And that's always something to take in mind when you are a ship in a shock and the cold and whatnot. There's going to be different eyewitness reports. But it's said in a later documentary on Dutch National Geographic and Discovery Channel that probably the ship would have broken up later than it is, or broke off on the surface, but the stern doesn't rise up and fall down again. I went to the movie when it was in the cinema and the movie theaters, so it was a quite depressing movie. But like I said, there was a discussion about what if Titanic plowed into the iceberg head on. Probably would have had a lot of damage. Not only the ship but also the occupants, because the ship the iceberg doesn't give way. It's like hitting your car on a concrete wall. We'll never know. But it's very interesting. To look at Wikipedia, the files and the persons. A few famous persons, the captain of course, lookouts. Of course the radio operators, and then a list of people who were on there like the unsinkable Molly Brown. It went by the time of the sinking, not Molly but Maggie, millionaire. All different stories from all different perspectives. I think sometimes to myself, what would I have done when I was on that ship? Would I have survived? Would I have perished? I simply cannot answer because I don't know. It was a very calm night evening. The sea was flat as a pancake. Even mirages. By the way, a flat sea that in the cold temperature dropped in a matter of hours, by the way, 10 degrees or so. All indication that they were steaming into an ice field. But the Titanic was a beautiful luxury liner. The grand staircase, the hallways, dining. Ship almost looked like you were on a restaurant on the wall. All looks the same, very luxurious. And like I said, two factors played a role. Of course, the ship is famous because it sank. Many people died. It was on a maiden voyage. By the way, many years before, somebody wrote a book about the Titan, which was a similar ship who also sank in the Atlantic with hitting an iceberg and people dying because there were no lifeboats or enough lifeboats. You could say it was a psychic, but I think it was more than a coincidence. Of course, there were also things that were different in the book. Probably in the link in the description box. The Wikipedia site also linked to that, probably is in the main article. Well, still back pain, so I'm gonna lie on bed. Almost home. Well, story of Titanic. And I didn't tell you all. There's so much to tell about it and to read, and even on YouTube, by the way. So if you want to see more, search from YouTube. There will be a lot of information. I can tell you I read almost the whole article on Wikipedia in English, with a few links I did not touch, by the way, but most of it I read. Well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like to comment or ask questions, please do so. And mind you, if you've got something wrong, I'm doing it by head. So the article on Wikipedia is a thing to go by. Have a great day and be safe out there.